My name is Zach, and a few years ago, I lost $100,000 in a single week, and I had no idea how I was going to come back from that. I didn't get into trading because I was passionate about the charts. I got into it because I needed a way out. You know, that feeling when you wake up in the morning and before you even open your eyes, there is this weight that's just sitting there already. Like you already know how the day is going to go and you already know what you're walking into. Just a repeat process of the previous day. And you just lie there for a few extra minutes because the moment you get up, it just starts all over again. That was me every single day. It felt like life was just happening to me and not something I was choosing. And trading at the time felt like an exit. I grew up in Amsterdam, raised by a single mom who came from Morocco with nothing, no language, no network, no support, and she had to figure out everything on her own. And growing up like that, you don't really notice it in a dramatic way. It's very subtle. You just become aware early that life isn't equal and that some people move through the world with guidance, with examples, and with a safety net, and others simply don't. I always felt like I was slightly behind, not in a victim mentality way, but like I was missing pieces other people already had. Things like going to family meetings every single week, or having a cousin that you can call up, or having people around you of the same age to just play around with, or having an older brother, or having to come being picked up by, I don't know, a dad. Sounds very sad, but I was honestly just a very, all of this made me a different type of kid, quiet, introverted, socially awkward, and I didn't feel comfortable in normal environments. So instead of trying to fit in into that world, this world, I went deeper into the one that I understood, the internet. I was a hardcore gamer, hours behind the screen all day long, a computer that we got from the government, which was a shitty computer. And honestly, that screen was where I felt comfortable, where I actually knew how to exist, where my friends lived. And, at the same time, though, there was a lot of pressure. My mom kept telling me to get a job. And of course, I understood why. It's a logical thing to do when you grow up, when you get like 16, 17. But every time I thought about it, it felt completely wrong. The idea of working a normal job, making an average salary, saving a few €100 a month, it just didn't feel safe. It felt like slow death to me. So one day, I opened Google, and like a lot of people, I typed in how to make money online. And that was my first step into the journey. That was the pathway. From there, I tried everything. E-commerce, affiliate marketing, different online business models. None of it really worked, but that phase wasn't wasted. It made something clear to me. I wasn't looking for a side hustle. I was going for something that I could commit to and have real upside, something with no ceiling. Then I found trading, and immediately it felt different. No boss deciding your worth, no salary cap, pure performance. If you're good enough, you're gonna get paid. And if you're not, the market is gonna expose you immediately. That level of honesty, that's really what pulled me into trading. But what I didn't understand back then was that finding the right vehicle was only step one. The vehicle means nothing if you don't know how to drive it. And just to be clear, I wasn't some naturally gifted trader. I wasn't smarter than anyone else. I was a socially awkward kid from Amsterdam with no safety net, no connections, no plan B. The only thing I had was the refusal to accept an average life, to be honest. And if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you have the same thing. When I started taking trading seriously, I went all in. I didn't care what people thought. I made a decision and I committed to it fully. I remember discovering smart money concepts and ICT and support and resistance stuff for the first time. And I think I had found something that most people did not know about. Like I had an edge, like I had a view into the markets, into the algorithm itself. So I went deep. Every minute I had, I was studying YouTube, courses, Discord server, connecting with people, Twitter threads late at night. I even invested into a mentor, which probably saved me many years and many dollars in losses. Eventually, you know, I started seeing some progress. I passed my first challenge, and I still remember that feeling. It felt like it finally clicked, like I cracked the code, like everything was starting to come together. Then came the first payout, and it wasn't even about the number of the payout, the amount of it. It was what it represented. Proof that it was real, taking this risk. And I remember exactly where I was sitting. I called my mom, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was actually going somewhere. But the truth is, I hadn't solved the real problem yet. I just had a moment, not really a system. And eventually that caught up to me. At one point, I went so deep into, personal account, live account as well, and I lost around 100 grand on my own money, and on top of that, some of my friends' money. And it wasn't just random money. Now it was someone else's money as well, and it was money that I built up over the years from grinding my ass off, trying different business ventures, e-commerce, from everything I had, everything that I tried before trading. And the worst part of that was not all of that money was mine. That was the worst part. There was a person involved who trusted me with their capital, and I fully resolved it. But in that moment, after the loss, he wanted his money back, and which is fair, but they weren't exactly the most understanding and kindest of people. I'll just leave it at that because it's a very long story and a very extreme story. It wasn't just my mistake anymore. It wasn't just on me anymore. It was someone else's money that was involved. It came from a weekend hold on gold. Price moved in a way I didn't expect, and I woke up to a margin call. And after that, nothing bounced back quickly. I was far away from getting to baseline where I was at. There was no instant recovery. I went into a dark place for about a year and a half. Not to be dramatic. I was just quiet and everything just felt heavy. I didn't really talk to anyone about it. I didn't have a big support system. I didn't have people around me that would care enough or could help. So most of it I had to really carry on my own. And the hardest part wasn't even the money. It was the weight of it, knowing that I had built something and then lost it all, going back to zero, knowing some of it wasn't even mine, and just knowing that there were expectations, pressure, consequences, all of that just came crashing down at one point. And at some point, I seriously thought about, quitting. For the first time, I thought about quitting. And that scared me more than anything, because I don't really quit that easy. Because trading, it wasn't just a career for me. It wasn't just a scheme. It wasn't just a get rich quick thing. It was actually something that I really wanted for the long run. And it was the only path I had ever actually believed in, to be honest, And a normal life, it never felt like an option, to be honest. So walking away just felt worse than the loss itself, which It's a very conflicting thing. And that's when something shifted. For the first time, I stopped looking for another strategy. I stopped chasing entries, indicators, setups, and I asked a different type of question. Why does price actually move? Not what it does, but why? And that question changed everything. When I discovered auction market theory, it forced me to rethink everything. Retail education teaches you how to look at the chart like a painting. Something you analyze after that has already happened. And sure, you can find some commonalities and some patterns to that. But professionals look at the chart like a live auction. Buyers, sellers, order flow. So for the first time, I could actually see what was happening underneath the candles. Not patterns, not guesses, real activity, real market participants. And that's when things started to click. I wasn't just learning entries anymore. I was building a full framework, narrative, acceptance in price, the value for the day, the structure, order flow, to confirm everything. And I finally had structure. Not just how to enter, but how to actually think. And the biggest shift wasn't even the results at first. It was how trading felt. I went from sitting in front of the charts all day, reacting to everything, to doing structured analysis, executing, and being done. I stopped reacting and I started really understanding what's going on. And I remember the first week trading like that, it didn't feel exciting. It felt calm, it felt clear. It felt like I knew what I was doing and why. From there, things really changed, right? Not overnight, of course, but consistently, month after month, same process and same framework. That's what led me to where I am right now. Consistently pulling over $40,000 a month from funded accounts. But the money isn't really the main thing here. What really changed was really my state. Trading stopped really feeling like a hassle, like a battle, like a crazy thing to attack every day. It really became a clear, simple process. I'm not glued to the charts all day anymore. I do my analysis, I execute, and I move on, right? The biggest thing really for me was being able to give back to my mom, right? Providing for the loved ones. I grew up watching her figure everything out alone in a country that really wasn't hers. No support, no network, no safety net. She had to carry everything on her own, raising me single-handedly. And so being able to take care of my mom now, that really means more than any payout would, than any number would. And the freedom of waking up and choosing what my day is going to look like and how I can structure it, that's really what I was chasing from the beginning. And when I look back at it, I was never the obvious person to succeed in this, No connections, no safety net, no plan B, no external support. Years of losses, mistakes, and learning the hard way. And I'm not telling you this so you can feel sorry for me, But I'm telling you this so you can understand something. If I could build this from where I started, with all cards against me, you have no excuse. The method works, the framework is real, and in the video on my YouTube page, I'm showing you exactly what it is and how it works. I simply couldn't fail, Not because I was some smart person. And also not because I was some talented person, but because I simply refused to quit. And if you're still watching this, I'm pretty sure that you have the same thing in you. So what are you waiting for?